So today we're going to talk about 3 things to do when you don't have your kids and also when you do have your kids. Because one of the things to do is going to be beneficial when you do have your kids as well. So let me get me some lip gloss and water. So 3 things to do when you are experiencing a time when you don't have your kids for a period of time and you're feeling a little bit sad and lonely and you're not really used to it. So, number one is to block off your day. And what I mean by block off your day, I mean literally have something planned for each hour time slot of the day. So if you want to go to the gym in the beginning of the day, block that off. If you want to do after the gym, you want to do your self-care, which is your shower, get ready for work, you block that off. You put your travel time, you put your work hours there, you put your travel time home, your commute home, you put what your task is, your first task is when you get home. And this is also beneficial when you have your kids too, so that you can be organized with your day with your kids and you can have things planned out exactly what to do with your kids when you have them. I know for when I did parent my kids with my ex-husband, my schedule was dictated to me. So therefore, I didn't really have the autonomy to really plan out my day. So it's really beneficial for me, and I think it's healthy and it helps me with my time management when I do block off each hour of my day and each time slot is occupied with something to do. So I think I'll put an example of what that looks like here. But what that does, it helps you with your time management. Like I said, when you've been dictated to pretty much your whole life of how you're going to spend your time and you finally don't have to deal with that type of situation, it helps me to actually have something to look forward to. Because I think when I was in a toxic relationship, I never really had anything to look forward to. So even if it's just like laundry, that's something to look forward to, right? It sounds crazy, but I actually do look forward to doing my laundry just because my days do get super busy. And it also helps me to really focus in on what I have to do during the time allotted for whatever task it is, which is work. So, for instance, what I used to do when I would be at work, I would venture off and do something that maybe for the kids, because I knew when I got home I may not would have had time to do that, because like I said, my schedule was kind of dictated for me due to being in an abusive toxic relationship. So I would try to get things done while I was at work, but now I don't necessarily have to do that. I can focus on work and be at work when I'm at work. My mom be focused on work. And then if I have to pay bills when I get home, I will block that time off. Or if I have to respond to messages from a teacher, or if I have to respond to an event planner, I can do all those things and have a time slot when I get off work to handle those things. And so therefore, it's just great to have it. It's great for boundaries, it's great for your time management, and it's great for productivity as well. I know this may not work for everybody. I do understand that could be this whole method of blocking off your day, blocking out your calendar minute by minute, hour by hour. I know that because it looks very and it sounds very anal, but for me, just coming out of a toxic relationship where my schedule was pretty much dictated to me, it's been really helpful for me to, like I said, to be productive, be efficient with my time, and just get things done throughout the day. Now, there's definitely going to be times when you don't do everything's not going to go to plan. Things may switch around. I'll switch maybe cooking up here and put cleaning down here, or grocery store, I may put that before church. I go to church just to get that out of the way. So things are going to change. You have to be fluid and be flexible and be able to pivot. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world if you don't get one of the things done. If something goes long, it's okay, as long as you have it planned out and it's like wishful thinking. You have something to look forward to. You can focus your thoughts and your mind on what you're working on or whatever it is that you're doing at that time. And so you're not having to worry about, oh, what am I going to do next after this? You don't have to worry about that. You can just look at your thing. Oh, I need to go. I need to cook. I need to go to the grocery store. So it's very helpful for me. And I think it would be helpful for you too if you are coming out of a toxic relationship that where your schedule was constantly dictated to you. You didn't really have any autonomy over your own schedule. Sad to say, but it happens. So that's it. Blocking off your calendar, your time management. It's also great with setting boundaries. If somebody were to call you up and say, oh, hey, so-and-so, unless it's your mom. My mom called me last week and was like, oh, you want to come out and meet us at this place? And I was like, well, I was going to do this, but it's my mom. I'm not going to say no to my mom when I cherish the time I spend with my mom. But if it's like somebody that has a propensity to try to dictate your schedule, you could say, no, I'm good. I'll sit this one out, because you already have your day planned out. Now, if they were to schedule something with you a few weeks in advance, you could plug that into your day. But it's also good for people that want to call you up and try to dictate your schedule. It's good to be able to set that boundary and say, no, I was actually going to do my laundry. You don't have to tell your business either. You can just say, no, I'm good. I'm just going to stay in the house tonight. There you go. It's great for setting boundaries as well. Number 2 thing to do when you don't have your kids is to schedule things that you like to do. Whether you can join a bowling league, if you're in your isolation phase and you don't really have friends like that, which is kind of typical. Well, I'm not going to say typical. If you're in your isolation phase, you should still schedule things that you like to do for yourself, whether it be joining a bowling club. Me personally, I'm in a golf league. I like to be out in nature, and I did pick up the game of golf a couple years ago. Am I a pro? No, I'm not that great. I know how to hit the ball off the tee, and I know how to hit the ball straight. Now, in terms of putting, no, absolutely not. However, I'm still going to go out and play because that's something that I like to do. You do not have to be Tiger Woods to pick up the game of golf. You do not. And it's great to be in nature. Being in nature stabilizes our nervous system after coming out of a toxic, abusive relationship. And so doing things, going out for nature hikes when the weather's warmer outside, when it's springtime, being out in nature is a great thing to schedule time to do. Thinking of other things. If your finances will allow it, go out and get a massage, do self-care type of things, learn to do your own nails. I recently did that. Picking up a new skill is something you can do. It saves money. There's thousands and millions of YouTube videos that teach you how to do your own nails. So I've recently done that. And I've also made it an activity to do with my kids. So that's awesome as well. So that's a journey. It's not cut and dry, learning how to do your own nails, because it's like you got your dominant hand, your non-dominant hand, you got to figure that whole piece out. But it's still a fun journey to do with your kids if they're old enough to do that. So but just make sure you're scheduling, when you don't have your kids, make sure you're scheduling things to do that you like to do, that you may not necessarily got a chance to do when you were in that toxic, abusive relationship, because you were made to feel guilty for doing the things that it is that made you happy. So do those things when you don't have your kids. Another thing, last but not least, is to fast and pray. So when you don't have your kids, you don't have to cook as much. You should still cook for yourself. I'm not saying don't cook, but if you do have the opportunity to spend time alone, you could definitely use that time to fast and pray and read your Bible. And so you don't feel like you're not having to cook for your kids and be fasting at the same time. I've done that before. It's not impossible to do. So it's like if you do have your kids all the time, you can still fast, but it's just easier to do it when you don't have to cook, and you could just get off work and focus on other things that you want to do. And you can fast. You could do a water fast. You could there's all types of fasts to do. But that fasting is really good for spiritual warfare. So a lot of times when your kids are with the other person, you don't know what they're saying to your kids. And there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on when you're trying to break those generational curses. And so, therefore, fasting is really going to help you be able to. God is going to shed light on things when you do get your kids back from being away from them for a period of time. God is going to reveal things that the other parent may have said or not said it by you just like observing your kids and how your kids are, and giving you the right words to say to them, giving you the right questions to ask them without seeming like the toxic parent that's bitter. He's going to give you the tools and the revelation to be able to mitigate the riskiness of your kids being alienated in terms of parental alienation, the manipulative, coercive control tactics that a lot of toxic parents will try to implement into their kids when they're using their kids as pawns. And so fasting is really good. Reading your Bible, reading scriptures on, because forgiveness is a whole journey in and of itself. Reading scriptures on, of course, fasting, doing maybe some devotion about spiritual warfare, such as no weapon formed against me shall ever be able to prosper, focusing on those types of scriptures, and praying. We have to be our own prayer warriors. If you have any support groups that you're a part of and they have prayer calls, definitely make sure you're calling into those. Make sure you don't miss those, because just being lifted up in prayer is definitely beneficial and helpful to get through the times when you're not around your kids, because it could get very lonely if that's not what you're used to, and it can become very discouraging, and it can also put you in a state of fear that is not, it can just make you fearful if you're not at that stage where you have released them over to God and you trust. If you're not really at that stage where you're trusting God to where he can go. So what I think is how I get over the fearful thing of me not being around my kids, it's like God is governing his warring angels, and they're encamped around your children at all times. I definitely trust in that. And no weapon formed against them shall ever be able to prosper. So that's a fact. And if anybody ever even tries to form a weapon, they're going to be in a rude awakening in the future. So God bless their souls if they try to even think about harming my children. And we'll just leave it at that. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. A recap of the 3 things to do is: number 1, block off your calendar. It helps with time management. It helps with setting boundaries. It helps with focusing on your tasks at hand. And it helps you to where you have more autonomy over your schedule. It gives you that autonomy over your schedule where people aren't able to dictate your schedule for you, which is maybe what you were used to when you were in an abusive relationship, toxic, control, and manipulative relationship. Number 2 is to do things that you like to do things that interest you, or even do something new you might end up liking or loving. Join a bowling league. Start picking up the game of golf. It is not that expensive as people try to make it out to be. It can be if you don't know how to financial plan. If you just go out and buy the most expensive clubs, don't do that. There's plenty of clubs, that affordable club. Look, just like I love golf, as you can see. But pick up something that you like to do. You could get into gardening. There's a bunch of gardening classes that they offer. I think I plan to do that this season, or maybe this coming fall. And because I have to learn how to start mowing my own lawn, I'm excited about that. There's nothing wrong with mowing your own lawn as a female. It's a skill that I think everybody should learn. And number 3 is fast, pray, read your Bible. When you have some extra time, when you're alone, when you're in your isolation phase, it's always great to use that time to get closer to God, to develop your relationship with the Most High. You can never go wrong with that, and you can only go up from there. God starts to shed light on a lot of things that we're trying to hide in the dark crevices of your life, and he will shine on those, and it will give you revelation on how to deal with those situations in the future, and basically how to guard your mouth, guard your heart, start guarding what you watch, what you hear, It's just a wonderful way of life. It's true freedom, walking in truth and just being free. But I hope I hope doing these things when you don't have your kids, me outlining them in the way that I did, I hope it was helpful. And I pray that this message reaches who it needs to reach. And I pray for peace, joy, prosperity, and all the great things that God has for you. I pray that you will obtain them and keep them like treasure. All right, everyone. Love you. Bye.